podcast is part of the Pod Syndicate family. For more criminally compelling shows, articles, and conversations, head to wearepodsyndicate.com.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and welcome one and all to episode 401 of Film Bastards. Coming up on this week's show, we've got a review of the John Wick-alike, is I suppose the easiest way of describing it. Yep. Nobody. Yep. And for some reason, we're also going to be reviewing West Side Story. Yeah. Yeah. I wasn't quite expecting that. I went to see a retro screening of it, and then Mark was just like, "Yeah, we're going to watch it as well, and then we're going to review it on the show." And that's a fucking interesting film. We'll get into it. That is an interesting fucking film.
I think as well, the reason why I think it's a good one to review is obviously we've got the Spielberg one coming up later on in the year. But unusually what we'd end up doing is watching West Side Story quite close to that. And maybe reviewing it like a week or so before. But I think maybe watching it that 5 or 6 months beforehand,
it allows the remake to be its own thing.
Yeah, a little bit like that. I'm thinking that might be my new remake or reimagining tact.
Does that mean we can watch Candyman soon, Mark?
No, because this is a spiritual sequel of sorts, isn't it? So,
fucking hell, isn't it?
Yeah. So just wind your roll.
Yeah, you wind your roll. That makes no sense. You mean slow your roll or wind your neck in?
No, I'm going for wind your roll.
That's not a thing.
I'm introducing it.
You're an
Not
idiot.
entirely sure that was successful.
When it's in Fast 10 and Uncle Vin goes, wind your roll to somebody.
While sipping a nice cold Corona.
Yeah, everyone will be like, fucking, that's a fucking phrase, that is.
I don't think they will.
And I'll just be there just going, told you.
You're welcome, Uncle Vin.
Yeah.
Honestly, if he actually says that in a film, we straight up need to contact whoever his fucking representation is and just go, right, does Uncle Vin actually listen then? Because we're not joking now. He said, wind your roll.
Which is categorically not a thing.
Very much. That is like Uncle Vin. If you listen to Film Bastards, at some point, hide the phrase wind your roll into Fast 10.
Yep.
Wow.
Gonna happen.
Wowee.
I'm not even not confident about it. I'll be going in, not even thinking, might happen, just waiting for it.
Waiting for it.
Yeah.
Okay.
You'll need to watch the subtitle showing just to make sure that you've definitely caught all the dialogue.
Yeah.
It's not a Nolan movie, Ian.
Well, okay, fair point.
You know me like that. I was joking.
Theory, mate. We'll also we got some trailers, we got some what we watched and news. Patreon.com/filmbastards, $2 a month, and you do get extra content, including my recent Golden Eye commentary. I'll also say as well, podsyndicate.com, where the home of us and other shows like Chin Stroker vs. Punter, The Rewatch Project, His Film, Her Movie, Entertainment Landfill, The Iron Sequel, and also shout out to Mike of Chin Stroker vs. Punter, who on the Pod Syndicate YouTube channel recently put out a conversation with none other than Twin Peaks' Sherilyn Fenn.
Yes.
Hell of a thing.
Yeah.
So Pod Syndicate on YouTube. Mike is really leading the charge on there at the moment. He's absolutely smashing it. So yeah, brilliant. Also, not this Friday, but the Friday after, I will be guesting on Andrew Jones, friend of the show, and Johnny Ellis's podcast, Are You Movie Mad? I recorded that last Saturday, and I basically, through force of will alone, made it the longest one of their episodes ever. Literally, I think it took us about an hour and a half to get out of the first act. Yeah, it was honestly that. Sorry, go on.
God, sorry. I remember listening years ago an episode of Chinstroker versus Punter where Mike was basically saying that said he likes the reviews to never be longer than the movie. With that. And so Paul, literally in the movie they were reviewing, kept on just interrupting and just going off on tangents. And I remember towards the end of it, this is a long, long time ago, probably like episode like 86, something like that. And Mike kind of like twigged towards the end and went, Paul, are you just doing this so that this what is it, goes longer than the run until the movie? And Paul's like, yeah, I'm trying to make this twice as long as the actual movie. And we've got 4 minutes to get. So it is.
That's great.
And the thing is, you could just hear Paul sort of giggling to himself. And everybody who was listening must have picked it up that that's what he was doing.
Yeah.
I mean, that none more Paul than that. That's fucking funny. But no, I mean, it was fun. It was longer than Fast 7, which I'm very proud of. But yeah, it was a good time. It's a good show. They're good guys, and it's I thought it was a really fun app. So yeah, week Friday that is. Speaking of Fast, let's talk news.
Yeah.
So the Cannes lineup came out last week, and who gives a fuck?
Yeah.
Even though that reminds me, I've got to talk to George. And Terry Fremo, I think his name is, the guy who kind of heads up Cannes, was like, there's also a blockbuster, a planetary blockbuster, which is a weird term to use. It's like, well, what the fuck's this then? And he was like, it's not the Spielberg, it's not No Time to Die, it's not Dune. It's like, what the fuck is it then? It's a film that comes out in the UK and the US like 2 weeks before Cannes. But the sheer force of Uncle Vin cannot be denied. And so Fast 9 is playing out of competition at Cannes.
That's it. It does show just the scale of how big those movies are.
Yeah.
That Cannes gone, right. Where the festival that takes itself way too seriously, but we need some of that fast energy.
It's already out in China. It's already out in a lot of fucking countries. From Cannes' perspective, it's like, all right, it might not be out in France yet, but it's almost going to be old news by the time it plays Cannes.
It's almost like that we don't know, but Uncle Vin's bought the Cannes Film Festival.
I tell you what it is. It's not that. They've already shot Fast 10, and it's not Fast 9 that they're showing. It's Fast 10.
Can you imagine that? Fucking hell.
Yeah, I don't know. I just thought it was baffling because I didn't think for one moment Fast, because it was like, well, that's after it comes out. You know?
Yeah, but Planetary Blockbuster made everyone go, oh, Dune then.
Yeah. And I don't know. I mean, there are like blockbusters in the can, as such. Surely, I don't know. Like, is it just that like they're worried that like things would just be spoiled or something? I mean, I suppose No Time to Die, however the fuck that ends, has been kept under wraps very well. And it's an odd choice. I very much like, and it's not a criticism of like Universal or the folks behind the Fast films. It's like, fucking hell, you get the chance to play Cannes, go on then.
Yeah.
Amazing. I just like, from Cannes' point of view, it's like, okay, you're going to get some stars, but also, real talk now, Vin Diesel and John Cena and company, are they really like the best movie stars to like do for like the first Cannes for 2 years? It's. I mean, with a Cannes crowd, like the Dune cast would certainly be more. I mean, the fucking Bond cast would be.
It is, but it kind of can. It could literally be them going, do you know what we need to tap into? That sweet Asian market. And who is one of the biggest stars in the Asian market? Uncle Vin.
Yeah.
You know, he is huge in Asia. I think he's one of those weird movie stars that is like a lot of Asian actors or Indian actors. You know, people think that they're, you know, that because Western audiences are as familiar or aware of anything like that. Vin Diesel is one that obviously that transcends that. He's at both sides, something like a Jackie Chan, for instance,
Spans the genre.
and things like that. But he is like a fucking god out there.
Yeah.
Well, the Fast movies are huge out there.
I am so excited for rewatching the Fast movies, especially, and I know it's stupid because it's not the best one. Tokyo Drift. I've only ever seen Tokyo Drift once. I've seen all the rest of the Fast movies at least twice.
Well, we watched a film this week, didn't we, that had Lucas Black in it?
We did? What was that?
We'll come to it later on.
Oh, I think I know what it is. Damn, that's a shame.
Yeah, and literally we kind of went, wait a minute, is that? Holy shit, it is.
Good. In terms of other news, I don't know. Nothing is quite striking me. I mean, the box office does seem to be kind of back, which is great. Oh shit! There's going to be a Christine remake.
Oh.
Blumhouse are doing it.
That's interesting. And it's an interesting one to take on because Christine's it's a really good film. It's a John Carpenter movie, but it was released as a TV movie in the US.
I mean, it could probably use a bit of an update. It's great. I love Christine, both book and existing film. I think it's really quite faithful. But yeah, it could probably use a bit of a drag into the 21st century.
Be interested to see who does that.
It's Brian Fuller, the guy who kind of show ran Hannibal.
Ooh. That's interesting.
Yeah, why not? Yeah, I don't know. I think that's. I don't know. Let's move on. So, let's talk trailers. I know I've seen a few, but there's only one that's really in my memory. So I'll lead off with you guys. What have you been seeing?
What have we watched trailer-wise, Rebecca? We watched America the Motion Picture. The upcoming.
Yeah, I'm not down with this one. Do you know, I like Archer. I like Stupid. To a certain extent, I'm not down with this one.
Yeah, I will happily watch this.
Of course you will.
Yeah.
I will, but I'd be worried if it's anything over 90 fucking minutes.
Yeah, I will happily watch a stupid version of American history that you will think that some Americans will watch and go, yep, that's how it happened.
The tolerance for stupid is heftier than mine.
Well, we'll get to that later on, won't we? It is, Ian, it is 1 hour and 38 minutes.
Okay, all right. I mean, if we're talking credits and whatnot, I think I can get on board.
Yeah, so we could be all right with that one there, yeah. I'm up for that. Demonic.
Oh, the new Blomkamp.
Yeah, the new straight-to-DVD horror movie from Neil Blomkamp.
The fact that I know I watched this trailer and cannot remember it at all does not bode well for its genericness.
What happened to Neil Blomkamp? It seems like he kind of... It just... Something just went wrong. But
Chappie happened.
But Chappie wasn't that bad. It's quite good, actually.
I like Chappie.
And was it genuinely that big a disaster financially?
I think it was almost kind of like like how much of a disaster it was almost in the pop culture, that it was just like, people just thought it was funny and stupid, and then he couldn't get anything off the ground.
It cost 50 million and made over 100.
I seem to remember it being quite sweet.
I think it was, yeah, I think it was maybe unwise to cast Di Antwoord in it.
Who?
The band. I think it was maybe unwise to do that there. They've not aged well. No.
There's some problematic aspects, if I remember correctly.
Yes.
Yeah.
Very problematic. But I mean, it seems a bit weird that he went from being, he's only made 3 movies. And Elysium is decent and did all right.
Elysium's quite generic, though.
Is there a possibility he's one of those that's just had a good idea, made a good film, doesn't have any more in him? A bit Richard Kelly.
It's difficult. District 9 was so good, especially at the time. Like now, I think stuff maybe caught up with it, but District 9 was quite like social commentary in the guise of a sci-fi movie.
Yeah.
It's been done before, but it was quite cleverly done, and I think it took people by surprise. And following that up's got to be difficult.
But Demonic just looked really generic horror-y.
Yeah, it does. Yeah.
It's if you take the blank check ethos with it, it's like District 9 didn't cost an awful lot and was just huge critically and commercially. It was nominated for Best Picture at the Oscars, for fuck's sake. And then after that, it was like he could do anything he wanted to do. Okay, another socially conscious sci-fi film, except this time you've got big stars in it. Go on then. And then it's met with tepid reaction. And then it's, well, do you know what? This is my original, here's really what I want to do. And it's chappy, which, for whatever reason, just did not, like, the zeitgeist did not like it, and it turned against it. And, it's the whole, turning against the fucking prodigal son. It's like what happened with, I think the most recent example for me would be Under the Silver Lake, where people were falling over themselves to love It Follows, and then Under the Silver Lake comes out, and immediately it's like, it's misogynist, it's overlong, it's self-serious, blah blah blah.
Which is bonkers, because It Follows is absolute garbage.
Yeah.
Under the Silver Lake is very, very, very good.
Yep.
It Follows is absolute crap.
Yep.
I mean,
absolute crap.
And this is the thing, us three and Noel Mellor are maybe the only people I know who actually say that. I remember so fucking clearly going to see It Follows with Noel, and then going out for dinner after and just being like, why?
Yeah, because I think it was you were in Manchester, weren't you?
Mm-hmm.
I think I was meeting you the next night. The next
Might
day,
have been his stag. Might have been his stag.
Yeah, no, I was trying. I was going to come and meet you afterward. I was going to come and meet you the next day, but I was going to try and see it beforehand. And you guys messaged me afterwards and went, stop. Wait.
But this is the thing. It's like with Blomkamp, it's just like now he's got no cachet whatsoever. Like he did a lot of work on that fucking Alien film that he was gonna do, and then Ridley Scott just basically went yoink. Nope, I'm having it back.
Yep.
And yeah, I mean, I feel for him. And yeah, the trailer looks fucking generic as shit. The fact that it's been picked up by IFC makes me think, okay, well, it's not that, it's gonna be not commercial as well. It gave me Possessor vibes.
Yeah.
And we'll see. I still maintain that one, like the one notable image of Possessor, is very, very funny in the context of that film, and it definitely isn't supposed to be. We shall see. Possessor was shit. I've decided that. Anyway, moving on.
What else have we got? Sorry, the cat's been a twat. What is that one? Oh,
Reminiscence.
yeah, my brain can't. What is it?
Yeah, Reminiscence, the new Hugh Jackman, Rebecca Ferguson one.
Yeah, I'm up for high concept sci-fi.
Yeah, this looks really good.
With Rebecca Ferguson and Hugh Jackman. Yeah.
Yeah.
Down with that.
It looks really interesting.
Yeah, see how it goes. It's that kind of like mid-budget looking, made for adults thing that only gets made now if you have massive stars. And
Yeah.
cool, I want to see it.
And it's been a while since we've had Hugh Jackman, I feel.
Yeah, it does seem.
It's. I mean, granted, I think part of that is the fact that the last year barely existed. But it does feel like it's been a while since we had a proper Hugh Jackman movie come out.
Didn't he do a tour after The Greatest Showman?
He did, yeah.
So that would have taken up some time, eh?
Yeah, I think so. Like, if you're looking at that, like Greatest Showman 2017, he was in Deadpool, but it was literally archive footage, wasn't it? And The Front Runner, which didn't do anything at all. And that's it.
Yeah, no one wants to see a fucking dry political thriller with Hugh Jackman in, do they? They want Hugh Jackman to be Hugh Jackman.
Yeah, nobody wants to see a Jason Reitman movie, I think, was more the thing.
That's true. Yeah, cool. What else?
I think that is it for us. I think. Unless I'm missing one. Am I missing one?
I don't think so.
No, I think that's it.
Okay, cokes.
Go on the hunt for one.
Did we?
Ah, the Anthony Bourdain one.
Oh, yeah. Yes. We did.
Hey, what's that?
Roadrunner. It's a Anthony Bourdain, kind of like not like a biopic or anything like that, is it? Or a documentary like that. It's a documentary about how he ended up becoming a celebrity chef, essentially.
Well, it's a bit
but
of a
travel
biopic, I suppose,
celebrity.
isn't it? But yeah, I love Anthony Bourdain, so yes, absolutely will watch.
I think it's more wanting to sort of explore, right, what happened.
Yeah, it looks like it's kind of heavy gonna go in on what his demons were.
Yeah, but not in a surgical, let's look at what caused him to do this. More a little bit of like almost like a bit of a love letter to the people who loved his work. So yeah, but very much a warts and all thing for it. Looks very good.
Bit of a peek behind the curtain.
But it looks like, I think, for people who were big fans of Anthony Bourdain, I think it'll be a bit of a in the cinema, it'll be a bit of a tough watch.
Yeah, I mean, even the trailer was at points.
Yeah.
Poignant fucking shots of him staring into the distance while people are talking about how much he struggled with his like public image and stuff like that.
Yeah. I think Bourdain's a weird one for us, isn't it? 'Cause we kind of weirdly we got into Anthony Bourdain when Isabel was quite infant, wasn't she? And so like a lot of like nights staying up, like night feeds and things like that coincided with watching No Reservation.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, nice.
So there's that kind of like got us into Anthony Bourdain's bits. I think we've both read a number of his books, haven't we?
I think, to be fair, I mean, we watch an awful lot of like cooking adjacent shows, don't we? And Anthony Bourdain was really at the start of that.
Yeah. That could be. I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to kind of watching it and spending a bit of time with Anthony Bourdain, but also as well, it looks like it could be a bit of
Tearjerker.
Yeah.
Cool, good. Okay, well, let's get into our main review then. This is Nobody, which is directed by someone with a very, very hard to pronounce. Ilya Naishuller. That'll do. Stars Bob Odenkirk, Connie Nielsen, Christopher Lloyd, Alexei Zerbriakov, the RZA, and others. And I think the IMDb synopsis, I don't know, I'm on a Google page for Nobody. Hutch Mansell fails to defend himself or his family when two thieves break into his suburban home one night. The aftermath of the incident soon strikes a match to his long simmering rage. In a barrage of fists, gunfire, and squealing tyres, Hutch must now save his wife and son from a dangerous adversary, fuck his daughter, and ensure that he will never be underestimated again. So, Bex, at what point during Nobody did you realise, this is obviously written by the John Wick guy?
I mean, in the trailer.
Yeah, right, fair enough.
There was various, like, there was numerous parallels. The story's basically the same, but like 25 rungs down the ladder from John Wick. If that makes sense, it's like,
yeah, I get that.
You've got the same basic premise, but you don't have the same quality level at all. And that's not to say I didn't enjoy it. I did, but they've made it too the same. If that makes sense, normal guy wanting to just kind of live a normal life, get away from his past, drawn back into it. The relative of somebody powerful does something shitty, so he ends up, there's just too much that's the same, but with not anywhere near the same level of panache that John Wick has.
Yeah, pretty much agreed, really. Mark?
I'm in a similar position in that. Excuse me, I need to take a quick drink there. In the sense that it's panache is the best way to describe it. It feels a little bit like they've gone, right, so what if somebody who was unassuming, was the same thing, a similar thing to happen, like the John Wick thing happened there, but then they just basically then decided, but he won't be able to do all these things, so why don't we make him an basically an ex-CIA, FBI, etc., NSA assassin. And it just it feels a little bit like the movie during the movie seems to shift what it's doing. Like it doesn't seem to have the same, I guess, but it doesn't seem to have the same stylish sort of notions to itself, and it seems to lull an awful lot. But then it
doesn't have the same purity that John Wick has either. In John Wick, it is revenge for what he's done to his dog throughout. Really, he's fucked his life. He's blown it apart by killing this dog, but the dog is the base of all of it. Whereas in this, he starts off kind of going off on one to get his daughter's kitty cat bracelet back. But then the rest of the main story is nothing to do with that. Nothing to do with the robbery or anything.
No, it just becomes too.
It just happens to be on a bus.
Yeah, no, it becomes him just getting pissed off, but it doesn't all add up.
No, it doesn't.
It seems to run on the whole. It seems to run on the pace of the fact that Bob Odenkirk is a really quite a fun screen presence in general, and it seems to run off that. But it goes the bit where you think he's about to go super badass, and he doesn't even go. Don't get me wrong, he does quite well, but he doesn't go like super badass. It isn't like he shuts that door like this is going to be easy for me.
The boss.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But then it isn't that easy for him.
No.
And he gets a bit fucked up. But there's the out of practice bit. But even then, it still doesn't seem like it's what is it? And but then later on, literally, he can take out a basic entire building of henchmen with little or no what is it. But that bit goes so quickly. The action is so much condensed into the last sort of 25 minutes.
Yeah.
That the other bit, I don't think it isn't as fun as the movie maybe thinks it is.
Yeah, and I mean, this is the thing as well. It's like with John Wick, there's such a mix of like fights, like what is happening in the fights with nobody. But towards the end, it's like you've got that sequence with Christopher Lloyd, the RZA, and him just shooting people while You Never Walk Alone plays. And it's like, cool, they're shooting people. It is a little bit like, I mean, anyone can do that. Yeah, it's fun to see Christopher Lloyd shooting people. But this is a film that felt to me like it was just going, is this enough? Like, there's... And you know, Bob Odenkirk, like, obviously physically he fucking worked out, and he did the work. And the bus sequence, it is like, it's impressive seeing Bob Odenkirk do that, even though throughout the entire thing I'm thinking he's actually maybe going off too much here. Like, those guys, they you know, they get on the bus. And then immediately he's like, I'm going to fuck him up. And I didn't really get what they had done to him.
It would be mean to that girl.
I mean, but then he just goes off the reservation. And so for after that, I'm just thinking, this is actually kind of your fault.
There is actually an element of that to it. John Wick's mistake is that he politely tells Alfie Allen that he doesn't want to sell him his car.
Yeah.
You know, and then it all descends from there.
Yeah.
Bob Odenkirk's thing is that he literally, I think he could have maybe got that girl off that bus a little bit easier. Even when the girl's gone, he goes back on the bus again. So what is it? And that bus gets fucked up. But also as well, there's bits where you, like you say, when he comes across as a bit of a dick, like stealing his neighbour's car.
It's a nice car though.
Yeah, but like he steals his neighbour's car. It would seem like just that. It's a bit like, right. No, but you're not. You're stealing your neighbour's car now, and you're gonna get his car fucked up. And all that he's done is be a bit of a dick in one scene.
Yeah, and I don't know. Like I say, this is it. It feels like, wouldn't it be fun to watch Bob Odenkirk kick some ass? Sure. Have you got anything else for me? How about Christopher Lloyd? That's the film.
And then things like you need to go and see the barber and go in and it's Colin Salmon, which is always nice to see Colin Salmon in things because it's Colin Salmon.
Yeah.
And then he turns up in that, and that's, you know, it's kind of cool. But then the gold bars and things like that, you're watching it going, this feels very John Wick universe, eh? And
yeah,
do you know what? If this was part of the John Wick universe, you could go, do you know what? Yeah, it's a fun kind of, you know, what happens if somebody was reactivated that wasn't quite as badass as John Wick, kind of amusing. But it's not. It's just written by the same people. And for, like you were saying, Bex, for it to be that close.
Too many parallels.
To John Wick is a little bit like, really? But it's fun at points.
It is, yeah.
You know,
I wish it was less similar. Like, if it was, it feels like it's not its own thing. It feels like somebody trying to do a John Wick knockoff rather than the people that wrote John Wick trying to do something different. Different but similar.
If this didn't have people that worked on John Wick attached to it, there'd be a collective of everybody going, oh,
Just a rip-off of
come
John Wick.
on.
Yeah. Absolutely, yeah. I agree with you. It's a shame. I really wanted it. I really wanted this to be a really fucking cool film. I've been looking forward to this since like news of it coming first came out, and it was just a bit like, do you know what? I could have just watched John Wick again, and I would have enjoyed it more than that.
I didn't dislike it.
No, neither did I. But it's like a paler version of John Wick.
Yeah, but
I'd rather watch the full color version.
I can't see all the fuss that people have made out of it.
Have they?
Yeah.
There have been people who are like, this is great, but to be fair, an awful lot of people going, meh. As nobody seems to be saying it is outright shit, but you've got a handful of people going, and I wonder if the Venn diagram of those people and people who like Better Call Saul is basically a circle.
Yes.
Is that him?
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's the thing. It is fun to watch, and like you said, Mark, he's a good screen presence, but it just feels like such a lack of effort. And I will say as well, the amount of slow-mo scenes set to a song in this for a 92-minute long film was honestly took the piss.
There was a lot, wasn't there? And it was
so many.
The thing was, it didn't even. If you're gonna have and make a point of it, so that your character actually puts a record on and has a big vinyl collection and all that, if you're gonna have that, you need to have some kind of, the songs need to feel like they all are linked, like they belong on a soundtrack together, not a collection of songs thrown together. This felt a little bit like thrown together.
I also feel like as well, like it doesn't really kind of give you. But it gives you contrasting kind of vibes with regards to where Connie Nielsen is with this.
Yeah.
Because at one point it kind of suggests, when he's like, oh, it's like old times, isn't it? It kind of suggests that she was part of his life back then and knew what he did. But then later on, it's like, what's going on?
And earlier on, when his son's talking about to a veteran, and she says, oh, why don't you talk to Uncle Charlie? He was a real soldier.
Yeah. Yeah, so she kind of emasculates him there.
Yeah.
Then you get this whole, oh, it's like old times, eh? And she looks like she's really fucking buzzing her tits off and a bit damp about the fact that he's going back to his old ways. And then it's like, she acts really shocked that he's got this, like, basically bunker in the cellar, which, by the way, badass, want one of those. I do want a zombie cellar. I just always have.
That's cool, that, except we don't have really cellars in this country.
Well, then you're going to need to get a fucking spade. But yeah, you know, and then it's just a bit like, well, hang on then, so does she know? Doesn't she know?
She don't.
At what point did she come into his life? So, but then if it's like, oh, it's like old times because she's cleaning up his fucking wounds, what did she think he did? Just got into loads of bar fights.
Clumsy.
Just real clumsy.
Real clumsy.
So yeah, I didn't. That bit I
How
thought
do you have to tend to things that I've done it myself because I'm just not very bright?
You don't let me tend. You just punch yourself in your various broken bones and go, it's fine. This is how you make it better.
That's how you test.
Like when your foot turned blue the other week because you did something stupid. I can't remember what you did now.
I don't know. These things happen a lot.
Do you remember your football injury?
Yep.
That was funny. Playing fucking FIFA and then called it a football injury.
Was I playing football?
Not really.
Technically, I was.
You broke your foot, didn't you?
Yeah.
How do you break your foot playing FIFA?
I was sat on my foot, and then when I stood up, my foot was dead.
And it coggled.
And it coggled, and I broke my foot.
Uh-huh. Sorry, we're getting a bit off topic, aren't we?
I'm enjoying it.
Question. When he first goes into that office that he's got and pulls the thing down and starts talking to RZA, Did you think at one point, is that in his head?
Little bit, yeah, I could get that.
It took me a while. I was like, wait, is this his head or is this real? What's going on here? Then you find out it's his adopted brother.
I'm here for that, though, to be fair. I enjoy seeing the RZA turn up in stuff.
Yeah, I enjoy seeing the RZA turn up in stuff, yeah. And, would I watch a Nobody Part 2 that contains more of the RZA and Christopher Lloyd's adventures?
I would absolutely watch
I kind of would.
Yeah.
Yeah, so...
I'd watch that more than a straight sequel.
I mean, I think you're probably going to end up getting a sequel.
Oh, unless it's the RZA and Christopher Lloyd.
Yeah, they would need to be in it more, I think, for me to be particularly interested.
Yeah. I didn't hate it, but
no,
it's a bit...
It just could have been so much better.
It's so very Thursday night Netflix watch.
Yes. Yeah, that's right. Really wanted it to be really good as well.
Yeah, it's not awful. It's just...
It's fine.
Yeah, it's fine. It's for me, a very, very mild, definitely not shit.
Yeah, I'm the same. I'm definitely not shit, because I don't think it is shit. It's just a bit like...
Fine.
Is that it?
Yeah.
Is that all?
Yeah. You can't just play the same beats as a film you've already made.
No. But I mean, our audience poll, definitely not shit, 75%. Touching Close, 0%. Shit, 17%. And Geostorm, 8%.
Fair enough.
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah, it's disappointing. And yeah, I mean, it being not the same studio as John Wick would seem to suggest that they're not going to connect.
So in March 2021, Derek Kolstad stated that there's a potential crossover between the John Wick franchise and Nobody, despite being made by Universal and Lionsgate. It would be done small and subtle, Easter egg reference manner, not as a franchise or cinematic universe. Late that month, director Ilya Nishalov commented that the potential crossover, noting that the same creative teams and the studio made the respective films.
Okay.
So that's a bit of a... There won't be a crossover, but we might do some nod and winks in the next one.
Okay.
He actually did a nod and wink there, despite no one else except me can see you.
I bet he fucking did.
If you say nod and wink, you
What
have
a
to nod and
champion.
wink.
But you're not nodding. Like, nodding is like that. You're like dipping your whole body. Like, yes, thank you, sir.
I'm an enthusiastic nodder.
You'd have to hit the floor with your head.
Yeah, but it's more fun that way.
You're funny.
Oh, it's nice.
Hey, you like my voice, don't you? It's enticing and exotic and sexy. Well, unfortunately, I'm just a promo guy being paid to advertise a movie podcast, and I can assure you that its hosts don't sound anywhere near as classy. But don't let my superior vocal talents discourage you, and go listen to His Film, Her Movie, the podcast where every episode the hosts must each choose a film to watch and discuss that has a connection to the chosen theme of that week's show. So stop aimlessly scrolling through whatever streaming service you're on, and let His Film, Her Movie give you an idea on what to watch next. You can catch it on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, or wherever you get your podcasts.
Interrupt this Pod Syndicate podcast to bring you a special Pod Syndicate bulletin.
This podcast you're listening to, pretty good, isn't it? Only problem is, it's about halfway through. Pretty soon, it'll be over, and then what are you going to do? Well, if you're a fan of this show, why not head over to wearepodsyndicate.com and subscribe to our brand new feed, Pod Syndicate, The Bonus Shows. Every week, your hosts from Beyond the Neon, Chinstroker vs. Punter, Entertainment Landfill, Film Bastards, His Film, Her Movie, and What's on Tap will be dropping bonus shows right onto that feed. These shows might be collaborations and crossovers, or they might be archive episodes, interviews, one-offs, and other treats from across the Pod Syndicate network. So, prepare yourself for the inevitable disappointment of this Pod Syndicate show ending by heading to wearepodsyndicate.com and clicking on The Bonus Shows.
We now return you to your regularly scheduled Pod Syndicate podcast.
Right. Okay. Let's move on and let's talk some what we've been watching. So, guys, what have you got?
Well, we watched just jumping onto the Becky's comment earlier of the I'm not as into.
I said I like stupid done well, didn't I?
I'm not as into stupid films as you.
But you know my favourite comedy movie is Airplane, so
So what do we watch, Bex?
we watched Spy Hard.
Our star movie of the week.
Yeah.
One of our 3 star movies of the week.
Very good.
Yeah, we're going on a Leslie Nielsen-a-thon, aren't we?
We're going to watch some Leslie Nielsen things, in the next few weeks.
Very well exciting.
So Becky, Spy Hard. Go on. Who does Leslie Nielsen play in this, Becky?
Leslie Nielsen plays Agent Dick Steele, Agent WD-40. It's so fucking dumb. Like, it's not Airplane levels of clever dumb. It is more veering towards dumb. But there's even the dumb. The way that he does it, he's just such a fucking king of comedy in it. His tone and his actual performance of what he's given is like expert level deadpanery. Like it's like he just doesn't even think he's doing anything funny, and I love it. I love him. He's so funny. Yeah, it's based. I kind of feel like this is what it Get Smart wanted to be.
Yeah.
And fails spectacularly out because Rowan Atkinson's not as good as.
No, you don't mean Get Smart.
What do I mean?
Get Smart was the one with Steve Carell in it. That's actually quite entertaining.
I mean the stupid fucking Rowan Atkinson.
You mean Agent? Oh, Johnny English, you mean?
That's it.
Yeah.
Like those kind of films, they want to be this film, but they're not Leslie Nielsen.
No, if you are a Leslie Nielsen fan, there is some great Nielsen bits there. There's also a few questionable bits.
There is.
It's not aged horribly.
It's a touch racially insensitive at points.
Yes, it's not just outright racist. It's a bit like, ooh.
Yeah.
There's a few moments where I think that even the filmmakers would go, looking back, that was just not as funny as we think it might have been.
I don't think any of it's done in like.
Well, it's nasty, no.
No, but it's just not something you'd get away with now.
No.
And it was a bit uncomfortable to watch those bits.
Yeah. But also you get an opening, a title sequence in the vein of a Bond title sequence, but sung by Weird Al Yankovic.
Oh yeah.
It's still a lot of fun. It knows what it's doing. It gets in and gets done in just over an hour.
Is it really?
It's 81 minutes for credits.
Wow.
Yeah.
I think as well though, all the supporting cast are really good in it. You know, Barry Bostwick's good. Marcia Gay Harden's good.
Yep.
As mischievous. And baby Nicolette Sheridan's very good in it as well as the femme fatale fellow agent.
Yeah. The thing is, it's almost like when they're writing names like mischievous with that. It's almost like you can feel that when they were writing it, they all giggled to themselves, and there was a collective high fives of, yep. Even if we don't write another line a day, we have done good work today, sirs.
Absolutely.
What else do you watch, Bex?
Do you want me to do what I watched on my own?
Yeah, do you watch stuff on your own?
Only one.
What?
I watched.
Sorry, I didn't realise that.
God, I've gone blank. What did I watch?
Know.
Suspiria, but proper Suspiria.
Oh yes, you did.
Yeah.
Nice.
So yeah, I decided, because I think you'd gone to bed and I couldn't sleep, I was going to watch back to back both Suspirias.
I mean, yeah, that's a lot of. I'm gonna stay up a little bit later.
Yeah, but you know when you're really not tired and like you feel like properly awake. So I watched the first one and then couldn't bring myself to sully my brain with watching the awful one. So I decided not to. Well, actually kind of because it's set at a ballet academy, dance academy.
Yeah.
You kind of think in your brain you just kind of afterwards you misremember that there's a lot of dance in it. There really isn't. It's not like in the remake, dance is a very big part of the storyline, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's not really in this. It's more about like the stuff that goes on behind the scenes, and then the dance academy is just a setting.
Yes. Well, yeah.
Which I think is better. It is a beautiful film, though, isn't it?
Oh, it's stunning.
The bit where the girl is. Hang on a second.
Sorry, the cat's attacking a plant.
Okay. Shrooms out of the colander.
Prick.
Sorry about that. The bit where obviously the bit at the very beginning with where she falls through the roof is beautifully shot. The bit with the razor wire as well. The fact that goes on for as long as it does and just holds you there struggling with it.
Yep.
Is just fantastic, and it just builds all this kind of it's more immersive because of it, because it'll linger on shots, because it gets very close into like faces and eyes and things like that. It's just such a beautiful movie. So yeah, I watched that, and then instead of watching Suspiria, the shitty version, I watched part of a film I will talk about next week.
Fair enough. We also watched together. We watched The Quick and the Dead, didn't we?
Yeah, we did. I don't remember seeing this. I know I have.
You have seen it, yeah.
But I didn't remember like what happened. The bit where it comes out, like obviously all spoilers all the time. If anyone's not seen The Quick and the Dead, a 1995 movie, sorry, but the bit where it turns out she actually fucking shot her dad trying to like save him was like, oh, no wonder she's fucked up. That'd fuck you up, wouldn't it?
Yeah, it kind of would. I mean, this was like Sam Raimi kind of moving away from sort of like genre picks by making a genre pick.
Yeah.
But getting, at the time, fucking huge stars in it. Sharon Stone was 1995 was probably the biggest actor on the planet. Gene Hackman, similar, was off the back of like Academy Awards and was a very big screen presence. Russell Crowe, very much like at the start of his ascendancy that he had.
He was pretty back in the day, wasn't he?
Good looking fella, wasn't he?
Yeah. Not so much now, but fair play, had his moment in the sun.
And then obviously having DiCaprio in there as well.
I think that's bonkers, really, because like you're watching it and Sharon Stone's Sharon Stone. Like Sharon Stone was Sharon Stone at this point and has continued to be Sharon Stone.
Yeah.
Same for Gene Hackman, same for Russell Crowe, but Leonardo DiCaprio, like this is Leonardo DiCaprio in his relative infancy, and we were saying, weren't we, when we started watching it, how anyone can watch his like young could have at the time watched his younger performances and not gone, yeah, that kid's fucking going somewhere. Like the way he holds the screen, the mannerisms and the charisma that he's got on screen was palpable from the very beginning of his career, really. Maybe not Critters 3.
I mean, it's fine in Critters 3. But yeah, he's very good in this, and he's really like 20 years old when it was made. And he already had like the mental thing about DiCaprio is from literally like 93, this boy's life. He was always, well, he's the heir to De Niro's throne, and it was kind of that weirdness, and it's in some weird like way it has come to pass that it's been true, but it was a not as straight line as people expected it to be, I think.
No, I think he's got more range than De Niro. You couldn't. Robert De Niro couldn't Romeo and Juliet, but young Leonardo DiCaprio could Taxi Driver.
I think Robert De Niro could.
Can you imagine Robert De Niro?
Fucking hell.
Yeah, fucking hell.
But no, he's at different times. But I don't think Johnny Boy is very different to something like in Mean Streets and like Last Tycoon, Jackknife. There's a lot of their awakenings. There's a lot of very different
just don't think he's ever had the kind of romantic lead material to him.
Maybe not, no.
Whereas Leo did. Leo has had. Maybe not now. A bit too gruff now, isn't he? Can't be asked to lose quite as much weight for film roles as he used to.
No. Leonardo DiCaprio's terrible at being a romantic, isn't he? I wonder where he is right now. I wonder which yacht with which supermodel he's on right now.
But like, you couldn't put between movie Leonardo DiCaprio in a romantic lead role. It just wouldn't wash.
No.
Yes, he can get fucking Brazilian supermodels 20 years his junior in real life, but that's not going to pan on screen, is it?
Yes, I love how literally DiCaprio's thing is the opposite to every other actor of well, no, this is unrealistic. She wouldn't be with him. That is your assessment of his real life.
Guy must be really good in bed.
So what else did we watch as well next then?
Oh, so we initially watched The X-Files.
Yes.
Because The X-Files.
It was on Star.
It was on Star.
And we couldn't choose a movie, could we? So we went, right, we need to narrow it down to a subscription service. We're watching a movie that is on Star.
Yeah. And it was just do you fancy giving The X-Files a go?
Yeah.
On it. Do you know what? I really like the X-Files movie. I think it's really good, and I like the fact that it's not so, again, to use an Ianism, inside baseball, that you have to have seen all of the TV series to be able to like watch it.
Because I was a casual X-Files watcher.
Yeah, I was as well, casual at best. I liked it when I watched it, but I never kind of consistently watched every episode.
I think I consistently watched it, but like it was on. Like I wouldn't be able to tell you anything that happened in any of them.
Yeah.
Whatsoever, at all. But yeah, I got on with this quite well. You know, you're aware of the characters and bits like that, and I think it's a good movie. You know, the idea that that essentially creation was an alien virus, and that there's this alien virus that's we've known about, humanity's known about, and they've been
we could use for our advantage.
It is really quite interesting, and it does a good thing of feeling like a bigger episode, but also feeling worthy of being a movie. It was quite cool, and I really I enjoyed it. This is the one that had Lucas Black in it at the start, with his when he was like 14 but still having the voice of a 47-year-old man. Yeah, and it wasn't even his face that we recognised at first, was it? It was like, hang on a minute, it's not Lucas Black, just by his voice.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, a voice that literally you would think, he must be putting that accent on. Nope, that's his real. Can you imagine going around and that being your real voice? Yeah, it's a lot of fun. And then we watched The X-Files I Want to Believe, which was made like for some reason like a decade later.
I think the TV show came back for a bit, didn't it? And then
No. TV show came back after this, I think.
Did it?
The TV show ran.
No. There must be something between the movie and.
Well, yeah, there was a few more seasons of like. The original...
it was happening. Yeah.
Ah, okay.
So TV series, it continued through then it stopped in 2001, and then didn't come back till 2016. So like the X-Files I Want to Believe is like in between.
Right.
That.
Yeah.
That. So yeah, we watched that.
This one does assume a bit of knowledge of the TV show.
Yeah, it does.
Which works not in its favour.
Yeah.
Works to its detriment.
Yeah. It also as well.
All of a sudden, Mulder and Scully are in bed together, and we were like,
what?
Yeah.
And they're talking about what happened to their kid, and it's like, wait,
what? But it does go from being like.
They're just like normal Mulder and Scullying, and then all of a sudden they're in bed together.
To pause afterwards, and we're like, wait a minute, have we missed something? And then it was
yes, numerous TV
it was a
series.
good another 20 minutes that we were like, wait, hang on a minute. So they lived together. All right, that makes sense.
See, I thought when they lived together, when they sent her off to find him, that she was just hiding him, and he was living with her, but in a basement. Because Mulder seems like he would be a bit of a basement dweller.
I didn't click that they actually lived together at that point. It was only later on.
Do you think she just visited him? She was really good friends.
She just knew where he was.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then it continued. But also as well, I think if you're going to make an X-Files movie, you've got to have something to do with aliens.
Yeah.
You can't just have it that it's about that it's about something to do with paranormal.
Well, it's not really though, is it? It's oh yeah, no, because they chopped that man's head off and it still lived. Yeah, there's some paranormal.
But no, that's not paranormal. That's sci-fi. That's
yeah.
It's not. It didn't feel like it was anything to do with the X-Files.
Billy Connolly is a paedophile priest I wasn't here for either.
Yeah.
No. I mean, this is the thing. It's like Chris Carter gets the opportunity to bring back the X-Files onto the big screen. It's like, right, Chris, what ideas have you got? Have you got any aliens? No. Have you got the return of any other famous characters from the show? No. Well, what do you want to do? Well, I've always thought of Billy Connolly as a paedophile priest. It's fucking mental. And just the fact that the tagline, it's the X-Files I want to believe. It's in what? That someone will take the body parts of random people and stitch them together because they want to basically reanimate their dead ex-lover. It's that, isn't it?
Yeah.
It is. And also, it's you want to believe that a paedophile priest has visions.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did quite like the fact that they were only connected psychically though, because he used to use the show's parlance. This is not me, but because he used to bugger him.
Yeah.
I mean, Gillian Anderson's talking about.
You are.
So, what's that line? That thing that Gillian Anderson says about buggering little boys or something?
Yeah. He's a priest. Blah blah. He has psychic visions. Oh, okay. Yeah. He also buggered 58 boys. Oh. It's basically the gist of it, isn't it?
It's fucking
right.
wild.
Here was my thing with this, though. Right. So, written by Chris Carter, and Frank Fontes. Right. The amount of boys that he's bugging is 37. They must have seen Clerks. I can't be the only one that got that connection.
It sounds like you were out of you two.
Well, Bex is currently just nipped out to grab a drink.
Okay.
But yeah, the thing is, it's not, it doesn't feel like an X-Files thing. It feels like something else. It feels like Chris Carter had written something else, but couldn't get it made, so then turned it into an X-Files thing, and they went, we'll make it.
Sorry, what's the 37 reference then?
Clerks.
What about it?
Oh, we have to watch Clerks again now. I'm not explaining it.
Okay. You could wear your Clerks t-shirt.
I might wear my Clerks t-shirt to watch Clerks.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, that's everything we've watched, I think, this week, isn't it?
I mean, apart from the obvious.
Well, yeah, apart from the next film we're going to talk about collectively. But that's what we've watched. Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. Okay. So I'll move on to my stuff. So continued through the Fast films. I'll leave my Fast 7 talk to Are You Movie Mad? Fast 6. I like it. I like it more than 5 because it just amps up the stupid. And when it hits the stupid and the emotional like Fast 7 does, that really is the sweet spot for me. But Fast 6 is much sillier than Fast 5, and I think I enjoy it more because of that. The fact that it literally they go up against a dark mirror version of their own team is very entertaining. And I mean the runway shit at the end is ridiculous, and I love it. I watched. a couple other things. Last Action Hero. So this is 4K on iTunes now. And I saw it was 4K. I was like, fuck it, go on then. I had it in my library already. It's like I haven't seen this for years. And I'm really quite fond of Last Action Hero. It was interesting. Like Donna came in like the last 10 minutes or so, and she was just like, and she was kind of watching it and like watching Danny with the magical ticket and whatnot. And then an F-bomb's dropped, and she was like, I thought this was a kid's film. and it's like, well, but yeah, I mean, it's that era where it's like, you know, they were selling like Terminator and Freddy Krueger like toys, you know, where like they were literally trying to get 10-year-old boys to watch films that were like straight up for like late teens and up.
Oh yeah, RoboCop and Rambo had animated series that ran on kids' TV.
Yeah. I mean, it's so yeah. I mean, and it's fascinating to watch this now. It is such a relic of its time, and I mean, like it was the same summer that Jurassic Park came out, and Jurassic Park basically ate its lunch, and then basically Hollywood changed. You know, and it's such an interesting inflection point as the summer of '93. But yeah, I like it. I like the fact that it is John McTiernan and Schwarzenegger taking the piss out of stuff that they had a massive hand in, like becoming as big as it was, and then they're like, this is stupid, let's have fun with it. And it is a laugh. Charles Dance, the fact that he spends like the first like 2/3 of the film basically being subservient to an Italian stereotype and is just increasingly pissed off about that is great. And you know, that idea of him coming to like the real world and then bringing in other movie characters and things like that. I mean, it's a great concept, but it is just stuck between, is it a fantasy for kids or is it a badass action film? And it's like that meme of like, why not both? But you know, from a commercial point of view, I understand why people were like, what the fuck is this? But as a relic, it's something. I mean, just the fact that Ian McKellen plays Death from the Seventh Seal. I just, wow. The film's a fever dream, and it's a lot of fun.
It's fucking great. His Last Action Hero.
It's mad. It's a weird, mad movie that is an awful lot of fun. It's very long though.
Very good.
It is, but I think the switch up that they do in that last third where it comes to the real world and then it's Jack Slater trying to prevent Arnold Schwarzenegger from being killed, you know, it's a good time. And the last one for me before we move on to our second review, John Singleton's Shaft, which I haven't seen in probably 20 years. It's a weird one, is this?
Is that because Christian Bale plays the bad guy?
Well, yeah, the Christian Bale.
Jeffrey Wright plays a Latino.
Yeah, I mean, Jeffrey Wright, it is fucking crazy. I mean, apparently it was written for John Leguizamo and he had to pull out because Moulin Rouge overran. I would have liked to have seen what he did there, but I kind of like what Jeffrey Wright's doing here. Fucking, he's going for it. He's really going for it. And I like how at the start you think that Christian Bale is going to be the main antagonist. And then just through the film, Christian Bale's character is basically just continuously debased. You know, like he fucks off his family, and then, you know, Jeffrey Wright's just like, yeah, you can pay me 40 grand to order this hit, or you can bring me into your world. And Christian Bale's like, no, fuck you, it's not happening. And then, you know, Christian Bale gets mugged by Shaft. of the 40 grand. And, you know, it's just like, it's Christian Bale's character is constantly getting shit on. And then you've got this end, which is wild. Like, real spoilers for the end of Shaft here. But where all through the film, it has been about trying to get Toni Collette to essentially testify against Christian Bale. That's what the plot of the film is. And at the end, she agrees to testify. They're walking up the fucking courthouse steps, and then the Mekhi Phifer, who is killed at the beginning of the film, his mum fucking shoots Christian Bale dead. And that's the end, which has essentially made the last 2 hours completely pointless. Which is such a weird... It's like this cynical ending, but it's not presented as that. You know, because then it ends with, like, Shaft going off in a car with fucking Buster Rhymes and Richard Roundtree, and they're off to have adventures. And it's a really, really odd bit of work where it wants to be saying something, but is also, let's have Samuel L. Jackson say, it's my duty to pleasure that booty.
It very much is like, look, we've got to have Samuel L. Jackson play Shaft. Let's just make it work.
Yeah. I mean, it is Shaft plus Samuel L. Jackson equals money. Yeah.
It very much is that was the pitch. So we're gonna remake Shaft, but with Samuel L. Jackson. All right, what's the story? Story?
Yeah, and it's just.
I learned how to choose the right actor.
Jeffrey Wright, Shaft pisses off Jeffrey Wright and Christian Bale. Jeffrey Wright tries to kill Shaft multiple times. Christian Bale finds himself increasingly shit on because he's a horrible human being. And then he's shot by someone's mum. The end. But I like Samuel L. Jackson in it. Christian Bale's like good. Does a good performance as a rich white racist. Jeffrey Wright is wild and I enjoy it, but it feels completely nutritionally empty when there are moments of the film where it's like you're going for something here, aren't you? Odd bit of work.
Weirdly, it's not as good as the sequel they released like 20 years later.
Yeah, I mean, I think we might be the only people who actually think that, but I'd agree that the Tim Story Shaft is a fun time.
Yeah, the thing is, I did enjoy John Singleton's Shaft, and like I said, I do really enjoy Jeffrey Wright randomly playing a Latino. There's a bit where he quite, I think for an extended period of time, is just sat in a window.
Oh yeah. No, there's a great bit where he's just fucking watching some shit happening across the street, and Samuel L. Jackson just picks up a basketball, just throws it up and smacks him in the face, and he drops his food over his shirt. It's a fucking wild film. Right. Okay. Let's move on to West Side Story. So, directed by Robert Wise and Jerome Robbins, stars Natalie Wood, Rita Moreno, Richard Beymer, George Chakiris, and Russ Tamblyn. So this was for some reason just playing View, and still is at time of recording like once a day. So I took myself off to see it. Very, very sunny day on Sunday. It was me and two other people. The two people in front, man and a woman. During the overture, the man is very audibly annoyed. What's it starting? What's happening? Okay, all right then. And then the opening scene is so fucking stylistic, and just you would not get this anymore. That he's just like, right, this is rubbish, we're going, and they leave. And
I get the feeling like she really wanted to see this, and he's gone, yep. I'll give it 10 minutes.
Yep. I think that's exactly what happened. I think he just made enough of a fuss that she was like, oh, fuck it, fine.
Yeah.
Like, he was like, I was a good few rows behind him and I could hear everything he was saying. And he wasn't shouting. It was a big, loud Welsh man. But yeah, and so this is the thing with West Side Story. Sorry, I just killed a moth. It's left moth residue all over my jeans. There it goes. Bye bye, moth. Right, anyway. The opening. Sorry?
Bad karma.
Yeah. It probably is. I don't know. There's been a lot of flying things around this house lately, and it's just like I'm fucking done with them. Do you know why that is? Because it's hot. Anyway.
Butterflies.
You kill ants all the time.
Ants don't count. You need horrible things. I don't mind them if they're out and about, but they shouldn't be in my house.
To be fair, ants shouldn't be in your house.
No.
Yeah, so the opening of West Side Story, you watch it, and I just think, like, cast my mind to if I was in the 60s watching this, I think I'd be like, this is some of the most mind-blowing shit I've ever seen. Like, what is happening? Like, just the way that their movements are kind of dancey, and you got no real context for what's going on, and they're just clicking, and like it's a real statement of intent. And the film, as it goes on, does become like a much more traditional movie musical. But that opening 10-15 minutes or so, I think is really fucking staggering. And question I'll ask you, Mark.
Yeah.
With Spielberg doing this, how much of the just oddness of it, like the style, do you think he's going to replicate? Or do you think he's going to go, here's the story, I'm going to do my own take with a modern sensibility?
That's the interesting bit, because there's a lot of like lighting bits within it where it uses, there's bits where it fills the screen with color. There's bits where it plays around with color as a backdrop and bits like that. And that's not something that we have grown to associate with Spielberg. Don't get me wrong, he's a very luscious visual director, but he's not one that has taken cues from things like this. I'm going to say it because they are peers that are comparable in terms of age and around when they came on. But for instance, Scorsese has frequently done things that he refills the screen with color, or he'll play with lights for different bits and things like that. But it is when there is a right, how is he going to handle this? Is it going to be as stylized, or is it going to be? I
think it's going to be much more of just a straight musical.
Yeah, but I don't. No matter what, the one thing that Spielberg, I think, that he is he over sentimental, etc. Yes, he is with things like that. But he's not shy from. He always, if he's doing something, it's because he thinks he can put something to it, a creative edge to it. He wouldn't take on West Side Story unless he had I've got a fucking idea for what you could do with West Side Story.
But I think the idea for what you can do with West Side Story will just be bringing it to a modern audience and making it more palatable. This wouldn't wash now. People will be laughing at it in the cinema.
Yeah, which is evidenced by Eaton's experience there.
It is very, very stylized, and we commented, obviously. God, I've gone blank. Richard Bamer and
Russ Tamlin,
obviously both also in Twin Peaks, and there's a lot of clicking that goes on in Twin Peaks, and their mannerisms are, there is kind of, you could look at this, and certain sequences, if they were in a Lynch movie, they wouldn't be out of place.
Yeah,
There's so much weirdness
it's one of Lynch's
to a
favourite
lot
films.
of this, and you know, I just don't think this would track anymore.
Yeah.
It's very earnest as well, which also wouldn't track anymore.
No. But like Ian said, that opening 15 minutes, 20 minutes is staggeringly good.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, all of the, especially all of the choreographed sequences. I mean, you commented whilst we were watching it. Just watch how static the camera actually is, and just lets the movement and the dynamicism be the people on the screen. There's no spinning bullshit cameras trying to create extra energy. The energy is there on the screen.
Yeah,
sorry, go on. It's just not something I've ever noticed before, because it is a very dynamic film, but that isn't a false sense of movement like it would be in a more modern film.
Yeah, which I don't think Spielberg will go for that. I think he will look at it and go, right, no, the idea of having it so you've got the soundstage there, and it literally is like a camera that just moves with the action, doesn't try and move into the action, because you couldn't do it at the time as easily. But as well, it captures you more.
Yeah.
Because you've not got lots of fast edits pulling you out of it. And that's what makes it staggering. And as well, with that, you're relying on, if you don't have fast edits, you're relying on takes. You're relying on the sheer talent of some of the people. Some of the bits that Russ Tamblyn does in this are incredible.
Yeah. The great again is because of the way that it's shot, you get to see it.
A literal bit, and we got this because we watched it at home. By the way, what I'll say is that the 4K on iTunes is beautiful.
Yeah.
One of the best looking 4Ks I've seen. Where I think I commented to you, didn't I, within like a minute, and went, holy shit, this looks good. And it just looks good all the way through.
Sure.
But there's a moment where during the G Officer Krupke bit, he does a flip from the top step over and just lands it perfectly.
So fucking casually as well. Like there's no build to it. There's no exit out of it. It just does a fucking flip.
Yeah, it's so high.
He's on this step with other people around him.
Yeah.
And just goes for it. Oh, sorry, 2 ticks. Hey, babe, you all right?
Would you like tea or coffee?
Oh, thank you. I'd love a Coke if that's okay.
Okay.
Thank you, babe. Oh, that's nice. Sorry.
But yeah, it just that flip, and it's just like, it's
out of nothing.
The sheer physicality of that is incredible. And the way he lands it, we had to rewind it, didn't we? Because I tell you, next went it's like, guys, did he just do a backflip off the top step?
I literally said out loud, fucking hell. You know.
But there was another bit earlier on in the opening sequence where he's sat on a pole when he starts doing the song, and he flips. He doesn't flip forward and flip over. He flips backwards and flips over, and it's almost like Joe Robbins said to him, right, I want you to flip forward, and he's gone, it's a bit easy that. Why don't I flip backwards and let go halfway around and land? And they've gone, because you'll land on your face, Russ. And you're like, nah,
to be fair, Tony gets a really good moment as well when Bernardo and fucking what's his name? Rip? Yeah.
Rip have been killed, and he climbs over the fence.
Yeah, he climbs over the fence and then just goes over it, and then from really high up, kind of then jumps down to the bottom, and it was so fluid.
Yeah.
And it's like, fucking hell, man, these guys are just in the best shape. And it's just the fact that Tony hasn't necessarily done that. You know, a lot of his stuff is slow dancing or just walking and singing. You know, Russ Tamblyn and that blonde guy and whatnot, they get way more of the physical stuff. Yeah. God, it's impressive.
That scene at the dance though is where he's dancing with Maria is just beautiful. That dance is perfect for them. It's so kind of like coy and shy and delicate and it's just lovely.
Yeah, the only thing that I can get to with the Tamblyn one that talk about the backflip and things like that, and the Tony one where you just mentioned where he climbs over the fence there, they aren't showing you them. They're not showing off. They just happen within it. And the only thing I think that I can remember that comes close is, do you remember in Francis Ford Coppola's The Outsiders? There's a bit where they all run out of a house towards something, and just literally in the background, without even happening as like a within focus, just in the background, they're all jumping over this fence, and Patrick Swayze essentially jumps on the fence and does a handstand on the fence for a good like 3 or 4 seconds.
Yeah.
And you look at it going, like 90% of people who watch it will miss it, and not like as a criticism will miss it. Just won't notice it because it's not within focus. But if you do, you watch it going, holy shit.
Yeah, the new one's going to be interesting. I wonder if there's going to be less with Rip and that lot, and whether they're really going to amp up the Tony and Maria. And it's like, G. Officer Krupke is like, I've got a feeling that won't be in the new one, and I want it.
That'll be such a shame because it's such a fucking great sequence.
It's so fun. That sequence. It's so fun, and I don't know. Like I say, I think they're really going to play on Ansel Elgort and Rachel Zegler, and you know, have big numbers like often. Whereas with this, like, America's a big number in terms of amount of people.
Yeah. But
what else is there?
That's it. Like you said, that there's a lot more, I think, focus in this one on the dance than there is the songs. Than that. I mean, the mad thing is, it's based on like this movie at the time, weirdly, was not too dissimilar to what that what's that weird one we're getting with the 58-year-old man playing a teenager? Yeah, it's not that dissimilar to something like that. You know, West Side Story was like this cool hit breakaway Broadway hit, and then literally the movie got made. You know, they started making it like, I think it was only like 18 months after West Side Story debuted. For that, so it's kind of almost been seen as like this classic for so long that you'd assume that it was like a decade before this, but it was this hip thing. And, you know, they brought on Robert Wise as a director to kind of get the more gritty aspects of it and to make it about this essentially like the warring immigrants within New York's slums.
Well, that's the thing. I mean, obviously it's very much based on Romeo and Juliet, but it adds an extra layer to it by adding in the racism stuff. And you've basically got immigrants, but just more established immigrants, giving shit to newer immigrants, and it's like, but they're what you were. That's what your people were 10 years ago.
Yeah.
What the fuck?
Well, that's it. You've got a gang of, as described in the things, is supposed to be a combination of Italian Americans, Irish Americans, Dutch settlers, and Polish.
Yeah. Giving shit to Puerto Ricans.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's just it. But it was obviously a very poignant social comment on what was probably going on at the time. But I like that it's taken what is already quite a, you know, Romeo and Juliet is a social commentary on like family rivalries and class politics and things like that.
Yeah.
And then it adds this extra thing into it. And I just don't think we're going to get as poignant an addition.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting
one.
how they work that.
I don't feel like Spielberg's got as much politically to say as
I don't know.
as this is saying.
I mean, as this is saying, but it's...
I don't think there'll be a bit where Anita nearly gets raped.
Oh, that is interesting, yeah.
Yeah, probably
That's
not,
awesome,
eh?
In a film that is trying so very hard to never say the word fuck, so it just says things that rhyme with fuck.
Yeah.
For then that rape scene is horrific.
Have you-
It made me really uncomfortable.
Have you, either of you guys ever seen it as a play
No.
rather than a movie? I've seen it a couple of times in different guises as a play. And it is, I don't know, it's interesting. It's always dealt with very, very differently within it. Because in some versions of the play, it is a rape. And in some versions it's not. It's an attempted or an insinuated rape. And I've seen a couple of ones where it wasn't, and it was very much less inferred even than the movie, and one where it is very much
Rita Moreno in that scene is fantastic.
Yeah, that's the bit that won of the Academy Award. Yeah, definitely. But it'll be, I don't know. I think that Spielberg's got a little bit more biting than you think he does.
I'm not a fan of Spielberg, so I'm very ready to kind of dismiss him.
Yeah, but as well, how did it feel in terms of like the pacing of it in watching it in the cinema? Because it's a long movie, but it fucking flies by.
Gallops along, yeah.
Yeah, I suppose it's, the last act, the pace does slow down and the songs basically disappear. But you're so involved with the characters by that point that I don't think it really matters. And it's just that, it's the fact that Tony and Maria, it's quite innocent. I mean, they obviously shag. But it still feels quite sweet. And yeah, it doesn't have the propulsion. Like after the intermission, particularly, it just like the propulsion does die down.
Yeah, it does. It does slow significantly after that, doesn't it?
Yeah, but I don't know. I mean, the songs are great. The dancing's fucking fantastic. The staging of it is sensational. It's very, very weird thinking that this film is nearly 60 years old because it feels so fucking vibrant.
Yeah, it genuinely. I think it's one of the best looking movies of all time.
Yeah.
It's something I think we've spoke about quite a lot on the podcast in terms of the actual the set design, the set construction. It feels you're aware of how it's done. It's soundstage, and you are aware of that. But I think the film is okay with you being aware of that. But still, the detailing into the wear on the world is incredible. It looks like when Tony is and Riff, we first introduced Tony, and he's taking the bottles down to what is it? His clothes look warm, but not like they look like they've been worn. But like the railing that is is down into the basement, the paint's chipped away on it, and bits like that. It looks like a world that has existed for people, and that's what is it. And that is always my thing when you are doing something that is set as a modern period piece. So not a period piece like set in 1896, but a period piece that's going to be set in the 50s or a piece in the 70s or 80s, things like that. When things feel too much like, well, that looks everything looks like it's just got off the peg and never been washed and worn before.
Yeah.
So, for instance, Wonder Woman 1984 was terrible for that. Everything felt brand new, and that is the issue that sometimes, even to an extent, something like American Hustle. Everything looked very new and very pressed and very, what is it? Whereas you take something like Inherent Vice, the bits feel like that those characters are worn and there's threads missing and bits like that.
Yeah.
If the first time you're introduced to Tony, he literally looks like he's in a freshly pressed pair of Levi's with big turn-ups, and his Converse are brilliant white rather than the slightly aged white that Richard Bamer's wearing. It will instantly kind of pull you away from it because it's a stylization of costume rather than a stylization of that, and so you're within something that is already a musical that already has that element of drawing you out of reality to it. If you then have it like that, it pulls you out even more, and it becomes that. This doesn't have that. It feels, the dance sequence and the killing riff. It is a dance sequence, but it still feels fucking dramatic. It doesn't feel silly or anything like that. And like you're saying, yes, that will not work like that in a modern film. Even a modern telling of this film, you won't be able to have the way that Riff is killed within it. It will be more real. I'm using bunny ears, real. But I don't think that takes away some of the brilliance of this movie.
The charm of it,
in that it still has that. But like I was just saying to Ian while you quickly went to feed the cat, it's a staggeringly good looking movie.
Oh yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
I think that's West Side Story. Oh, sorry.
Yeah. I was just going to say, I am very much looking forward to seeing what Spielberg does with it, and I'm very much looking forward to seeing the film. I mean, when's it out?
Christmas.
I'm watching a big fucking epic looking musical around Christmas time in the cinema. Yeah, what's not to like? But I'm very glad we watched this as far in advance as we have.
Yeah.
Because having this in your brain, seeing a reimagining of it, I think could only work against the reimagining.
I'm very much looking forward to it. I'm not a Spielberg isn't in my top 10 favorite directors or anything like that. But there's no getting away from it. He is an incredibly gifted filmmaker. And I'm very much looking forward to. The thing is, I'll be more disappointed if it's a 7 out of 10 than if it's a 4 out of 10. This is just boring and shit. I'd be more disappointed with a 7 out of 10. Just what was the point in that? Whereas I don't know. There's something in the back of my brain is going. They've seen it. And they've delayed it until when they can. Part of that might be the Ansel Elgort effect. But they're still wanting to go fucking big with this. There's never been any sniffing of this might... What is it? So, yeah. This is going to go big, and they're wanting that. I just got a feeling that this might be an absolute fucking... a banger.
A banger?
Yeah. Like, they've watched it and gone...
This might both fuck and slap.
Yeah. And as well,
nice.
we've got at the end of this week, as we're recording, we've got In the Heights.
God, is that the end this week?
Which isn't it's a musical and it's got that kind of vibe to it, and the early word for it is everything I'm reading about it is look, this is fucking special.
Yep.
And that just makes me go, West Side Story. I'm glad I watched it this week because it's made me go, right, yeah, I am up for not a version of this, but I'm up for something that is clearly taking inspiration from this, being thrown at the fucking big screen and going, let's have that. Let's have fucking long fucking hot summer. But that. Fuck yeah.
Yeah.
I am very excited for Friday night.
Yep.
You would.
So
8 o'clock.
So you're going to have to get a flyer.
I will get a flyer.
I'm missing the start of the film like we did with bloody Conjuring.
We missed the first 2 minutes.
That's not the point.
okay,
Sorry, definitely not shit.
Oh,
definitely not shit. Shockingly.
And we'll just get to our audience poll where I think West Side Story, definitely not shit, 75%. Touching Cloth, 13%. And shit, 13%.
What?
We once watched West Side Story in a music lesson.
Yeah.
Right? But I remember my teacher put it on and going, we're going to watch this over a couple of lessons. And I laughed about saying we're going to watch this over the next couple of lessons. And she was like, what's so funny about that, Mark? It's like two and a half hours long. It could take us at least like 3 lessons to watch this motherfucker. And she's like, we'll get it watched in 2. Like, we literally can't get it watched in 2.
Are you going to bend time?
And so we watched the first hour, we put like first 40 minutes in the first lesson, and just never watched any of it again.
Aww.
I'd already seen it many times.
Yeah.
And at the cinema as well.
Who you go with?
On my own. To
Nice.
the original city screen
Oh wow.
when it was in the museum gardens.
Nice.
In the what is it? Yeah, there on my own. On a Sunday night.
I love you. Shit.
What? I just took myself to watch it.
Yeah.
I don't see the problem in that.
I don't either.
Let's have some questions.
What have we got? We've got a couple. So the first one is Marcus Zizou says, Armie Hammer discusses his current situation and his future in the film industry. All I'll say is his current situation, I think from a legal point of view, I think we have to be very careful.
It's gone awfully quiet, hasn't it? And I think there'll be lawyers squirreling away in the background doing whatever lawyers do.
Yeah.
I mean,
there's a thing where if he's done what it's said to have done and it was not as consensual as what is it, then basically that probably should be the end of his career. And criminal charges, etc.
Yeah, I mean, we talked about it on the show a while back, and at that time it seemed like it was a little bit of kink shaming. Yeah. Subsequently, it seems like it wasn't as reciprocated as it initially appeared, or there were other women where it was like, nah. And in that case, yeah, his career deserves to be fucked.
Yeah, if it all comes out that it's a bit that again everything is not quite as what it seems, I still don't think there's a road back for him.
No, I think he's convicted by the public court regardless, isn't he? It's a weird one. I feel like if there was no truth to it, or if the truth was that it was consensual and these people that are coming out and accusing him are just looking to make names for themselves, I think he would have come out and said something by now.
I think he's very much gone lawyered up to fuck. Because it's basically there's nothing about it anymore out there.
No.
So you get the feeling that his lawyers have gone, anyone says anything about this, we can use it in the case.
Yeah.
As a defense. So everybody's just gone fucking quiet. But it from a pure, cinema point of view or anything like that, not condoning actions or anything like that. It's a shame because he was a fun cinema presence. There's that, but if he is that much of a prick, then do we want him to be a fun cinema presence? Is what I would say there.
Quite.
People's fancy.
And I still maintain that anybody who has had a 13-year-old daughter should then, have a little minute with themselves and say, and I very much agree with the whole separate the art from the artist and everything like that. However, there are points where you have to kind of also go. Then again, I'm the man who's only just realised that I can still listen to Morrissey and not fucking hate myself. So
I just hate myself because he's shit.
But yeah, I don't know.
It's a real weird one. I mean, it's pure speculation, isn't it? Like we don't know what's going on. Whether it's true, whether it's not, whether it's the silence is deafening now on it, and it would seem to suggest that there's something to it.
As a broader subject of the phrase cancel culture, which is a horrible phrase, because 90% of the time what it is it's accountability culture. Yeah, you are accountable.
I think it's a really reductive phrase, to be honest. And, yes, some people get cancelled and it's not really justified, but a lot of the people that do, it's just a collective agreement amongst people to go, do you know what, this person's done a shitty thing and we are not going to fucking line his pockets anymore. And if that's the case, J.K. Rowling, it happens. It's not just to men. It's happening across the board. And if people are shitty and they deserve to just not have people pay attention to them anymore, then fine.
Yep.
But I think it is a really reductive phrase because often it's deserved.
But then there's other bits where, as a pure just picking out of the air of what is there, is the Mark Wahlberg one. Mark Wahlberg was convicted of a hate crime in his late teens, I believe it was. And he still gets it thrown at him now. And there's a point, I think, where with certain things, you have to kind of go, right, but is there a point where...
You have to allow people to grow and change.
Yeah, to grow and change.
I did stupid things when I was in my late teens. I didn't commit any hate crimes, but I did stupid things that I wouldn't do now. And to have them held against me would be unfair.
If you have a young actor below a certain age, I think there is, where you can, as a young actor, says something stupid, not does something stupid, because that's a very different action, but says something fucking stupid. That depending on the level of the fucking stupid. But not necessarily shouldn't be it. That shouldn't be them fucking ruined for the rest of their careers. There's a little bit of a we have to allow for the facts. Or if you've got an actor who becomes popular now and then someone goes back and goes, oh, did you know when I was 17 they liked this? It's like,
well, it's like a big one that's been in the doing the rounds recently is the Ellie Kemper one, isn't it? Have you seen about that?
No.
Oh, yeah.
She was basically people are framing it as she was crowned a clan princess. She went to a debutante thing that she's now saying that she wasn't aware was linked to the clan, and was like it was like a beauty pageant or something, wasn't it, Ian?
Yeah, that sounds right.
And she won it. So people are saying that proves that she supports the clan and she's racist and all this kind of shit. And it's like, I mean, she was awfully young.
Yeah, 19 she was.
And claims she didn't realise the association. So you've got to let people be the people they are.
Yep.
Yeah.
I used to vote Tory. I was brought up wrong. Don't hold it against me now.
I do. So next question, but good question though.
It was a good question.
Rick Kidd at Rick J Kidd. John Wick 4 or Matrix 4? Which Keanu sequel are you most looking forward to?
John Wick 4.
John Wick 4.
John Wick 4, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's the right answer, isn't it?
I am looking forward to the Matrix 4, but the Matrix 2 and the Matrix 3 were not great, whereas John Wick 2 and John Wick 3 were. There's more of a body there.
There's an argument to say that out of the 3 and a bit Matrix movies there already are, if you include the Animatrix.
The Animatrix is good, actually.
There's maybe one good movie out of all of it.
Yeah. And it's the first one. Yeah.
And even that is...
No, it's very
culturally, I think it's very important. It's good. It's not It's not as good. It's not as good as it is important
Yeah, maybe.
or influential.
I think though, like you look at the cultural touchstone that movie is.
That's what I mean.
Yeah, I mean the fact that something weird happening is just a glitch. A glitch in the Matrix is it's telling of its impact.
Yeah.
Deja vu is not deja vu anymore. It's a glitch in the Matrix.
Yeah.
And that's great. I love that.
Red pill and blue pill.
Yeah. Red pilling someone is like a whole thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is. When anyone sees code that isn't a coder. Oh, you're in the fucking Matrix. Shut the fuck up, Dad. Yeah, John Wick 4.
Yeah.
Just 'cause it's going to be mad, innit? It's going to be mad.
Yeah.
It's going to be great fun.
Yeah. That was all the questions we got this week.
Okay, cool.
Question.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right, let's leave it there then at a rather shorter pace than we have been doing, but that's fine. That is all good. So coming up on next week's show, we will be reviewing In the Heights. We're all going to see a slightly advanced screening of it this week, so we'll be covering it next week. A friend of mine saw it yesterday and was very pleased with it. Like just a guy in work, not like a film Twitter person, and he really liked it. So fair play.
A real person.
A real person, yeah. There was some sort of Sky screening that he managed to get a ticket for. So, so we'll be talking In the Heights next week. And I think that will just about do it. So, I did all the preamble at the start. I need the toilet. These guys need food. So, thank you ever so much for joining me as always, Becky.
Thank you very much for hosting, Ian. You're
quite welcome. And what a pleasure it was as always, Mark.
Thank you very much.
And we'll go out doing a backflip just like Russ Tamblyn, except I'm going to break my spine.
And I'm going to push mine through my skull.
I'm just not going to do it.
Fair enough. Becky will be the only one left living. Good night.
Good night.
This podcast is part of the Pod Syndicate family. For more criminally compelling shows, articles, and conversations, head to wearepodsyndicate.com.